You see somewhat of a void created in the leg lock game where that wasn't in the rule set, right? And then now you see these guys specializing in that where, the ADCC rules, the submission only, and that created a void in itself for now this not only a new rule set, but even a whole new style, if you will, in the grappling, space. What do you think, Robert?
Yes, I think absolutely. There are a lot of similarities. I'm happy that IBJJF is legalizing heel hooks. I think they should be incorporated. I think the fear of injury is something that, from my experience, most injuries come from takedowns and transitions. It's the scramble where people get hurt. It's not the submission. I can't remember the last time a submission hurt me. It's normally me passing guard, defending a takedown. It's the sprawl. It's the scramble, right? Like the guy is going to take me down. He's missteps. I land on my shoulder or something like that. But I'm happy they're doing it. But there's definitely something. I wouldn't say that the whole thing that these guys go, oh, you're ignoring half the body. That's not true. You see, Hobson Gracie is talking about doing footlocks back in the day. Right. Footlocks have always been a part of the game. There has been, because they've never been legal other than ADCC, and that's only every other year, and that's only recently anyway, people never been bothered specializing in heel hooks. Like no one has ever specialized in heel hooks. And then you get Dean Lister, and then later you get other people influenced by him and whatnot. And the Luta Libre guys have always done the heel hook thing, but it's never been as sophisticated as it is today. Which, I think that there's something there to be added. I think it has its value. I think there's a very strong argument against heel hooks as well. I don't deny the strength of that argument. You got to remember when these rules were created, if you blew your knee from a heel hook, you'd be a cripple for life. The technology to reconstruct a knee did not exist 50 years ago like it exists today. So you have to take all these things in consideration, right? But I'm in favor. Anything that makes the martial art better should be assimilated. Granted, we do have to be careful. I think IBJJF really is approaching it the right way. Why a brown and black adult, no gi only, like baby steps, right? See how it goes. I hope that they're keeping track of the injuries. So statistically, they're not ranking higher than other. I don't think they will, but if they are ranking much higher than other submission injuries, we might want to reconsider it. But my suspicion is that it won't be. I just hope they're keeping track of this so someone doesn't come along and uses one or two examples of someone getting their knee blown from a hook and going, ha, this is the whole story now, where statistically it ranks far below the Kimura, for example, right? Like if you're going to monitor it, you got to monitor everything.
Right. So you got to collect the data to even know.
It's something shocking that it's not done in jiu-jitsu. To me, like I'm actually talking to a guy from university in Brazil. Like we're talking about doing something together about just statistics, just like putting something together, collect like thousands and thousands of matches and coming up with statistics on jiu-jitsu because there's close to nothing out there. Right? As a coach, I'm really interested.
Right.
I want what's actually happening versus what we think is happening. I'll give you an example. When the Berimbolo thing revolution started 10 years ago, 15 years ago, whenever, that's all my students wanted to learn. They didn't want to learn anything else. And then BJJ Heroes came up with statistics and turned out that Berimbolos were like 4% of the sweeps in the black belt division. And the vast majority were closed guard and half guard, right? And I think 50-50 was in there because 50-50 is a seesaw, so it doesn't really count. But it was like one of those things where you guys think that this is the whole story, and it turns out to be 4% of the story. And you're ignoring all this other stuff that's actually happening because you consider it to be old school, for example.
Right.
So I think statistics is the only realistic way of looking at the sport.
And what's interesting too is you could not just collect it at tournaments, right? You could actually collect it at the academy level, to even know, okay, how do we train, and get some other data there that says, okay, this is a better way to train because if we're teaching this way or we're doing it this way, statistically, the students are less likely to get hurt or.
Yeah, Professor Valente, what do you think about that? I know at your academy, you guys do a lot of the self-defense aspect, incorporating strikes, and how do you see that with the current rule sets now, and even tying in? I think there's something to be said about this history now in this book, and you guys, and we're really looking into the history of jiu-jitsu, how we move forward from here, how everybody is going to get educated on the history, but you see a lot of differences and a lot of factions, if you will, of different people. Maybe they're focusing on no gi, maybe it's sport jiu-jitsu, and now now. A lot of people doing the self-defense aspect and preserving the roots of that. What's your opinion on that, and where do you see it going from here?
The way I see it is that jiu-jitsu is such a broad art that it allows for different expressions, different specializations, and we should all be proud of each other.
Mm-hmm.
As long as jiu-jitsu is practiced with a good philosophy, with a good mindset, in a positive way, I think it's good. And I think that even though we don't participate in the competition scene, we are very proud when we see a world championship with thousands of competitors from all ages, and jiu-jitsu growing on that front. I think is something that makes us very happy. And I also believe that sport jiu-jitsu practitioners can be very proud of the effectiveness of jiu-jitsu in other ways, be it as a form of exercise, be it as an art of self-defense, its original purpose. And that's what we decided to specialize in. We feel that there are amazing schools doing a great job when it comes to sport jiu-jitsu. And because we were direct students of Grandmaster Helio Gracie, we wanted to make sure that we preserved a knowledge that was no longer emphasized.
Mm-hmm.
And that many people started to look at in a negative way, as if it's something ineffective, as if it's something that doesn't work. And we knew how effective it was. And also we understood that without regular practice, it would not be something that is done effectively at a high level. Just like grappling techniques. I always say that the triangle choke, for example, a white belt will perform a triangle choke in one way, a blue belt a little bit better, a black belt will have many different variations and setups for the triangle that a white belt won't know.
Mm-hmm.
Why is the knife defense any different? Why do people think that, oh, just show me the knife defense one and I know it and I can do it as a black belt? It requires constant practice just like anything else.
Mm-hmm.
And so we decided to specialize and to spend the time in this so that we could really develop it and continue to improve on it, because evolution is necessary.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
Right? We respect tradition, but we also believe in evolution. And we saw our teacher do that until the end. He was in his 90s and he would come to class and say, let me show you a new way that I figured out of doing this and that. So that was his mindset. He was very open-minded. Few people know that. Helio Gracie was cross-training from the beginning.
Yeah, even saw a video of Helio doing a heel hook in the gi.
Yes, absolutely.
There's a video somewhere. I posted it on Jiu-Jitsu Motivation, and it's a video of Helio doing a heel hook in the gi, demonstrating it. And
the heel hook was always part of their curriculum since the 30s.
Wow.
Right? And there are newspaper articles that say that Helio Gracie's favorite technique was the footlock in the 30s. And so they were practicing leg locks, but also they were training with judo teachers. There was a Japanese judo teacher named Tada. Helio Gracie always told me that he was learning judo from him. You had capoeira guys coming to the school. Helio Gracie was an expert in throwing kicks, high kicks, low kicks. Catch wrestlers. They were in contact with fighters because when you're a fighter, you want to get better, you want to win. So you're gonna learn whatever it takes to be able to get better, and you're gonna be open-minded. And the Gracies were fighters.